Tom Aspinall entered UFC London, and he basically ran through Marcin Tybura in a fashion that was definitive enough to say, I'm not here for play, I'm here for titles. That's what I want. I want to be the reason that Jon Jones doesn't retire, win or loss after he fights Stipe Miocic this year. That is what is on the table here. He absolutely delivered. And AJ, even though I'm not going to lie to you, I had a sense of worry because my man gained a couple pounds since the last time we saw him. Fast, spry, athletic, powerful. The first kick he threw almost knocked Tybura across the octagon. What else can you say about his performance other than devastating, beautiful, flawless, 0 punches landed for Marcin Tybura? What do you think?
It's hard not to go with the beautiful, flawless, devastating approach to the Tom Aspinall fight, Derek, because a lot of the things he was throwing were missiles that weren't even close to being caught by Tybura. Tybura was seeing things 3 seconds after it hit him. He was looking good. Tom Aspinall was looking fast. He stayed bouncy on the knees. Didn't even look like the knee was a problem, Derek. Homeboy was fluid, looking very, very solid. My one question I will take away, though, how does this fight happen? How does that gas tank go? Because you're right, Tom Aspinall showed up just a little heavier, a little bit bigger, but looking fast, looking fluid. Does he maintain that gas tank in a 5-round fight against somebody who's going to stay there, like a Jon Jones, like a Stipe Miocic, like any one of those really top echelon UFC fighters? Do you think he maintains that gas tank through 5 rounds?
It's really difficult to say, brother, just because through all of his fights thus far, he has been out of the second round or out of the first round twice in his entire career, and he keeps finishing the fights early. So he could be the same question that we have about Sergey Pavlovich, right? Where it's like, well, what happens if it goes longer? Well, it doesn't matter because he's getting everybody out of there early, right? So that's going to be the big X factor when we start talking some title fights. But the big question that a lot of people were bringing up that I thought was a little interesting was they said, oh, Tom Aspinall, great statement, but what does he do on the ground? We haven't seen his ground game, but we have seen his ground game, man. People just can't put him on his back. That's the real problem there. And of course, if we're talking Jon Jones and all that stuff, we're going to have to talk about those situations. But until then, a Cyril Gane, a Sergey Pavlovich, if those are like the two people that could potentially be on the table before a Jon Jones fight or whoever's the champion, I mean, do we see anybody beating Tom Aspinall right now?
Not to me, Derek, and especially because of that lack of ground game. And when you have a devastating, not Marauder-esque fighter like Tom Aspinall, he'll go toe-to-toe with you, but he's very, very calculated and smart on how he does it. And he's always leading the dance. Well, if you let him, he's leading the dance and doing very, very well at it. I'm interested to see what a D1 wrestler like a Jon Jones could do. But other than that, who else in maybe a Curtis Blades? But I think the power that Tom Aspinall presents with the speed is a very dangerous combo. It's only going to be one of those top few that really can show us something. I think there's title aspirations, folks. Derek, and folks, if you didn't catch it, Derek has been talking about Tom Aspinall since the come up. So I think there might be some aspirations actually coming fruitful right here. It's going to be interesting to see how this guy rides to the top.
Yeah, man, I think he's there. I think he is ready, to be completely frank with you. But I will say that we do need to see a little more just cage time. I think that's the one thing I'd like to see. That's what we got robbed of in the Curtis Blades fight, where he got his knee blown out. So technically TKO win for Blades, but it's like that fight didn't really happen. We never really got those questions answered. But we did see, like I said, devastating finish, literally a flawless victory. There's nothing more you could have asked for. You didn't get touched, so you can have a quick turnaround. And he said, I'm going to be waiting in Paris for the winner of, the Gane, whoever he fights, if it is Gane, Pavlovich, or whatever the case may be. But, I mean, listen, man, I don't want to get too uber hyped up because what I saw really quickly was the UFC do a very brief turnaround and now announce him as the big boogeyman. And I'm like, but where was all of this at before, right? It was Pavlovich. That was the boogeyman. Now Aspinall is injury-free, and now he is. So a lot to be determined still. But I will just say you could not have capped off a UFC London card any better than a flawless victory by Tom Aspinall, which you'd love to see.